My phone rang, a number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. The voice on the other end was mine. But it was ragged, torn, like it had been scraped over gravel. It was gasping, choked with pain. It said my name and then, "Don't leave the room. No matter what you hear, no matter what you see, don't open the door." I tried to ask who it was, what was happening, but the line went dead. I stood there, phone in my hand, heart hammering against my ribs. Was it a prank? It felt too real. The voice, it was undeniably mine, but broken. I walked to the door, my hand hovering over the knob. The voice had sounded so desperate, so terrified. I locked it. Better safe than sorry, right? I tried calling the number back, but it was disconnected. A chill snaked its way up my spine. My apartment, usually a place of comfort, suddenly felt like a cage. The silence was deafening, amplifying every tiny creak of the building. I told myself it was just a sick joke. Someone with a voice modulator, maybe? But how did they know my name? That's when I heard it. A faint wet sound from the hallway outside my door. A soft, rhythmic dragging. I pressed my ear against the wood, listening. Drag, scrape, drag. It was slow, heavy. My breath hitched in my throat. Along with the dragging, there was another sound. A sickeningly sharp crack, like a dry twig snapping. Then another. And another. It sounded like bones breaking, one by one. The dragging stopped right outside my door. The bone cracking continued, a slow, deliberate percussion of shattering. My blood ran cold. This wasn't a prank. This was real. I backed away from the door, my eyes wide, fixed on the doorknob. The silence returned, but it was heavier now, thick with anticipation. Then my phone rang again. Same number. I snatched it up, my hand shaking. "Hello?" The voice on the other end was the same. My voice. But this time it was even worse, shredded and weak, punctuated by wet, gurgling breaths. 9 minutes, it rasped. "It will be here in 9 minutes." Then a scream, a horrible tearing sound that was cut short as the line went dead. 9 minutes? What would be here? My mind raced, trying to make sense of the warning. 9 minutes until what? I stared at the clock on my phone. The seconds ticked by, each one a hammer blow against my sanity. The dragging sound started again, but it was different now. It wasn't in the hallway anymore. It was above me, on the ceiling. A slow, heavy scraping sound, moving across the plaster right over my head. My ceiling is solid concrete. There's no crawl space, no attic. Nothing should be able to move up there. But it was. I could hear it. Drag. Scrape. The bone-snapping sound was back too. Closer. Sharper. Echoing in the small space of my apartment. It was like something was methodically breaking itself apart right above me. I huddled in the corner of the room, as far from the door and the ceiling as I could get, pulling a blanket over my head like a child hiding from monsters. But there was no hiding from the sound. It was inside my head. The scraping stopped directly above me. I held my breath, listening. A low groan vibrated through the ceiling, a sound of immense pressure, like the building itself was in pain. Then a new sound began. A soft rhythmic tapping on the ceiling. Tap, tap, tap. It was a patient sound, an inquisitive sound. It was trying to find a way in. My phone screen lit up. A text from the same number. One word. Closer. I wanted to scream, but my throat was closed tight. The tapping on the ceiling stopped. For a moment, there was silence. I almost allowed myself to hope. Then the doorknob began to turn. Slowly, back and forth, jiggling. My heart leaped into my throat. It wasn't a sound from a speaker. It wasn't a hallucination. Something physical was on the other side of my door. its hand on the knob, testing the lock. I had locked it. Thank God I had locked it. The jiggling became more frantic, more violent. The entire door rattled in its frame. Then, it stopped. The silence that followed was the most terrifying thing I'd ever experienced. I stayed frozen, listening. And that's when I heard the whisper. It came from the mail slot at the bottom of the door. And the voice was mine. Not the broken, dying version from the phone. It was my voice, clear and calm. It whispered my name. "Let me in," it said. "It's me. I forgot my keys. Open the door." No, this couldn't be real. I'm in here. How could I be out there? It was a trick. "Go away," I yelled, my voice trembling. The whispering voice just chuckled, a dry, hollow sound. "You can't keep me out," it whispered. "I live here." Suddenly, a tremendous force slammed against the door. The wood groaned, splintering around the lock. It hit again, and again, a relentless assault. I scrambled backward, tripping over a chair. Then the most bizarre thing happened. The door didn't buckle inward from the force. It began to bend outward, bulging into the hallway. The wood was warping, stretching, as if something impossibly large was pushing against it from my side of the door, from inside the room with me. But there was nothing there. I was alone. I looked around the room, frantic. The shadows in the corners seemed to twist and writhe. My phone rang again. I fumbled for it, dropping it twice before I could answer. It was the first voice, the broken one. "It's inside!" it screamed, the words dissolving into a wet gurgle. "It's not trying to get in, it's trying to get out! Hide!" Before I could even process the words, the door exploded. Not inward, but outward. It wasn't kicked in, it was torn apart from the inside. Splinters of wood and the mangled lock flew into the hallway. Standing in the empty doorway, I saw nothing. The hallway was empty. There was no creature, no monster. Just my ruined door, hanging in tatters, ripped open from the inside of my apartment. I called the police. When they arrived, they looked at me like I was insane. They saw the door, torn from its hinges, the frame shattered, the wood splintered outward into the hall. They tested it, confirming it could only have been destroyed by a massive force originating from within the apartment. They swept the entire building. They found nothing. No signs of a struggle, no mysterious creature. Nothing on the security cameras except me, alone, entering my apartment hours earlier. They questioned me for hours. They suggested I might have had a psychotic break, that maybe I'd done it myself, though they couldn't explain how. To this day, I don't know what was in that room with me, or what it was that called me. Was it my future self? My own corpse, trying to warn me? And what was the other thing? The thing that mimicked my voice, that tried to lure me to open the door? The thing that was already inside, trying to get out? The police eventually left, writing it up as a bizarre case of vandalism. But I know what I heard. I know what I saw. I moved out the next day. I can't sleep in a room with the door closed anymore. Every time my phone rings from an unknown number, my heart stops. Because I know, someday, it will call again. And I don't know if it will be a warning, or if it will be the voice from the other side of the door, telling me it has finally found me. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.